Hey everyone, it's me, Andy,
And I'm Sean.
and this is the Commander's Brew.
This week, fast zombies.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching here on YouTube. It is the Commander's Brew. We got another big deck tech for you this week. If you like what you're seeing, one easy and simple way to help us out is to go down and hit subscribe. Share the show if you have some friends who might like it. Leave a little comment. All that stuff is actually really super helpful. And if you want to get involved directly, you can go over to Patreon. Patreon.com/commandersbrew is the way you can donate directly. Help us actually make the show. Help us keep the show going. And get involved in our Discord and actually help us brew the decks, suggesting cards. It's a lot of fun in there. A lot of like-minded and fun Commander playing individuals. So check us out, patreon.com/commandersbrew. Without further ado, though, let's start talking about this week's deck.
Andy, this deck is fun. This deck was a journey. This deck took a journey to eventually become what it is. But along the way, we picked up the theme of it. I was just messing around with the gang in Discord, and we were like, here's the idea. And we were like, what are the colors? And like, there was at one point we were like, all the colors. But we settled here. But then the way we settled here kind of led to the theme. And once we locked the theme in, it's like, okay, now this is much easier now. So the theme is fast zombies.
Ooh.
Like in 28 Days Later, the ones that run.
Oh,
I'm not talking your regular zombies that are relentless and ending. These are the zombies that come fast and they don't give you a chance to barricade things. They're all over. So our commander is Thantis. Thantis the Warweaver, which makes us Jund. That's 3 black, red, and green. Legendary Spider, Vigilance, Reach, 5/5. All creatures attack each combat if able. That creates the world of chaos that always exists in zombie movies. Everyone's just fighting each other. Like, no one gets to sit back at home and be safe.
Right.
Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Thantis the Warweaver. So Thantis has Vigilance and Reach, so Thantis can attack without tapping, and so that means Thantis is already around to block, and if your opponents decide to attack you, Thantis usually gets too big for them to have a successful attack. You can usually eat someone with Thantis. But this also means that our opponents will probably be tapped out of creatures, so our zombie army can most likely get through with all, except for maybe if they put down a blocker after like their combat step in their second main, or maybe they've got a flash creature or a couple of defenders. But for the most part, we should have a clear path for our zombie armies to attack. And they're fast zombies, and we will get that to in a second. But the theme of it, here's what I'm imagining. Fast zombies are not traditional zombies. Right. So I'm imagining Thantis somehow put spider eggs in a bunch of dead people's brains, and that's what turned them into zombies. So that's what I'm going with for this deck.
Right. All right. Perfect. And
if anyone kills Thantis, all the zombies have to die. That's a secret rule you have to concede. If anyone
he's the leader of them.
Right. That's how the movie would work. We're not really going to, though. So that's the story of the deck. So let's get into some of these innate moves.
Working on a neat
moves. Yeah. So what is a fast zombie in terms of magic? Andy, why don't you take this first little batch here?
I guessed correctly, and I was rewarded, and it just means one thing, obviously, one characteristic that a fast zombie of magic would have is haste. And, of course, a couple of ways to bring that to the table. Anger, 3 in a red. Classic incarnation, 2/2 with haste, and as long as Anger's in your graveyard and you control a mountain, creatures you control have haste. We also have Ogre Battle Driver. This is one we haven't touched on in a while on the show, I know. But this is a great card. 2 red for the 3/3 Ogre Warrior. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Very, very solid.
Yeah, and another angle for making zombies fast is extra combat steps. Right. That's another way to get fast zombies. They're relentless and fast. So this is one of the very few non-zombies in the deck. Anger was the other one. This is Combat Celebrant. 2 in a red for a human warrior, 4/1. If Combat Celebrant hasn't been exerted, you may exert it as it attacks. And if you do, you untap all the other creatures you control and you get an extra combat phase. And the thing about Combat Celebrant is the way exerting works is you don't untap once. So I didn't want to brew around ways to manually untap Combat Celebrant because you can exert it. Can you exert it? I don't think you can get 3 combat subs if you can untap it. Anyway, but still, you can get 1 extra that way. But we've also got like cards like Relentless Assault, 2 red sorcery, untap all creatures that attack this turn. And after this main phase, you get an additional combat phase. And we've got Breath of Fury. I love this one. 2 red, enchant creature you control. When enchanted creature deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and attach Breath of Fury to a creature you control. If you do, untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So if we've got an army of zombies that are all expendable, one with Breath of Fury gets through, and again, if Thantis is doing their job, we might have an opponent with a fully clear board, in which case the whole army can go one way as long as if we've got 1 attack on anyone, that's where you send the enchanted zombie, and the fully expendable army goes somewhere else. At the end of it all, put it on a new one, keep going. Relentless.
This is the perfect fast zombie card. This is it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This is the fast zombie card.
This is the fast zombie card. Wow. Crazy. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we're naturally going to be attacking with lots of tokens. That's what this deck is meant to do. So when we're doing that, here's a batch of cards that I think works pretty nicely in the deck. So it's a fun synergy. Why don't you take this one?
This is Druid's Repository. 1 green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, put a charge counter on it, and then remove a charge counter from Druid's Repository. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So yeah, as we're attacking, we're also like ramping, and you can. This isn't one of those things where you can only do this once per turn. You're only able to take out 1 of them. Like you can remove all of them after, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Really good. I think I used this recently in a deck. That's why I was like pretty familiar with it. It's great. Talking about attacking with lots of tokens, from under the floorboards is a nice way to get a few tokens out there. 3 black for a sorcery. It has Madness for X black, but it says create 3 tapped 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, and you gain 3 life. If the spell's Madness cost was paid, instead create X of those tokens and you gain X life.
Now, I didn't go into this, but our card draws mostly red discard to draw cards. So a couple of Madness cards work great in this deck because we're going to cast, we're going to discard from under the floorboards to draw a couple cards, but we're going to also make 5 zombies while we're doing it.
Love it.
And these zombie tokens come into play tapped, and we've also attacked with a few zombies. So this next card gets a real big bump.
Harvest Season, 2 and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of tapped creatures you control, and put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Great synergy with a zombie deck. I love like these other color tribal type things. This is so cool because this is something that like I think we all have this idea where zombies are just black and blue, and it's either mono black or black blue, or maybe even Esper if you're talking about Verena. Well, here we have we have Harvest Season, which is a card that like literally has a zombie on it. Like that's a mummy.
Yeah.
And in what's it called? I was about to say Ixalan. And
Amonkhet.
The zombies were mummies. So this is such a zombie card, but I think like largely we wouldn't even really think about it until you see a deck like this. So this is great.
Yeah, I mean that is the drawback of a lot of zombie tokens. They come into play tapped, but I'm happy to like cast them under the floorboards. They're tapped, fine. Harvest Season, here you go. Give me a bunch of lands.
Very cool.
But we do know that zombies are expendable, and here's one of the original ideas for the deck was like I wanted to do this kind of effect. Effects like Evolutionary Leap. 1 and a green enchantment. Green, sack a creature, reveal cards from the top of your library until you get another creature card. Put that one in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I worked really hard to keep the actual creature cards low. Most of our creatures come from spells, enchantments, sorceries, instants that make zombie tokens. And I wanted to make it so that the actual creature cards support the zombie army in some way. Evolutionary Leap is how we're going to do that. We're going to get rid of a zombie, maybe one that's going to die in combat because there's someone blocked it successfully. Again, I'm going to send 8 zombies at you. I expect a couple to die, but the ones that you block successfully that I won't trade with, I'll just sack those to Ev Leap and then turn them into actual creature cards. Cool. Another way I'm going to do this is Divergent Transformations. 6 in a red for an instant with Undaunted, which makes it cost 1 less for each opponent. I love that it's instant, and it's probably going to cost about 4 for a lot of games.
Yeah.
Exile 2 target creatures. For each of those creatures, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her of their library until they reveal a creature card. Put that card on the battlefield, and then you shuffle the rest of those cards into your library. So I get to turn 2 of my zombie tokens into actual zombie cards or creature cards. I mean, Anger's one you don't want to hit with this, but Combat Celebrant, it's instant. I'm going to do it at the end of another person's turn, most likely. So I'm going to get 2 new things. Or in the middle of combat, I don't know, what about this next group will make you wonder about casting that in combat.
Oh, okay, so let's talk about this next group then. Creatures that we're going to hit with these cards, stuff like Cemetery Reaper, 1 black. It's a zombie. 2/2. Other zombie creatures you control get +1/+1. Pay 2 and a black and tap it to exile target creature card from a graveyard. Put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. I always forget that this card is a graveyard. I always think it's your own. And obviously this type of like graveyard exile at instant speed, it's nice to leave a little mana open. You can do that type of thing. It's just a nice bonus to have if someone tries to reanimate something big. You can just snipe it and get yourself a zombie. Also, just obviously being an anthem for your zombies is always great. Next, we also have Paragon of Open Graves, 3 and a black for a 2/2. Other black creatures you control get +1/+1. And then 2 and a black and tap it. Another target black creature you control gains Death Touch until end of turn. Always, that's a great threat of activation there. If anyone's trying to block your stuff. And then finally, we have Lord of the Accursed. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. It's 2 and a black for a 2/3. And 1 and a black, tap it. All zombies gain Menace until end of turn. I always feel like this card is like in a good way, like it's too much. Like all the zombies also get Menace, like, and they're 3/3s now. It's like, gee whiz, this card is like nuts. Like it's usually enough to just attack with a board full of zombies, but this makes it even better.
And let's consider how that works with Thantis, because you don't get to keep creatures untapped unless you cast them in your second main. But unless you're casting 2 creatures in your second main, you've only got 1 untapped. Menace doesn't care about 1 creature. I'm still getting through as if you had none with Lord of the Accursed. But these are the kind of cards I'm happy to Divergent Transformation into in the middle of combat. If a couple of zombies are like going to be like, those 2 are going to die, I was like, well, let's see if I hit some Anthem zombies. And it's like, oh, great. Now my whole team is +2/+2. Good luck fighting.
Crazy.
And the density is, again, this deck has been made so that very few of the actual creature cards, most of the zombies they're being made from non-creature cards. So that the likelihood of hitting a creature that actually pumps up your zombies is very high.
That's great.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
And then I just want to, another little group I want to highlight are like other ways we're going to make our zombies kind of different, kind of better. This is the perfect deck for Angrath, Captain of Chaos. This is the uncommon Planeswalker from War of the Spark. 2 Rakdos for a legendary Angrath with 5 loyalty. And the static is creatures you control have Menace. Love it. -2, amass 2. Which means make a 2, like, so you kind of make a zombie army token and you put 2 counters on it. We've got a few amass spells in here. The amass spells make that 1 zombie bigger. Unfortunately, that doesn't make additional zombies. I would love it if it made more zombies, but we're doing a lot of sacking, so I'm happy to sack the army, make a new army, sack that one, make a new army. Angrath works very well in this deck. We might Divergent Transformation to a Vizier of the Scorpion 2 and a black for a zombie wizard. Starts as a 1/1, but when he enters, you amass 1, so he makes a little 1/1 buddy. And all zombie tokens you control have death touch. Now our armies are even more brutal when they're coming in. It's just
Quite
like
good.
what?
Yeah.
Who like you can't? You're gonna block 3 of them.
Can't block
Great.
them. Yeah.
You can't. And finally,
Oh, it's even worse with the menace too. The death touch.
Death Touch and Menace. Yeah, you got to put 2 away. And one of my favorite cards in this, you can't get this as a creature, but Beastmaster Ascension. 2 and a green for an enchantment, and whenever a creature you control attacks, you put a counter on it. And if you get up to 7 or more counters, all your creatures get +5/+5, which is just huge zombies.
Look at these green like quest counter cards that care about attacking so much. Like, what's going on here? Like Beastmaster Ascension, or what's the other one?
Druid's Repository.
Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we breezed through this, but that's sort of the gist of the deck. That's kind of what we're doing. We're trying to.
Yeah, we kind of hit it fast as well. But yeah, we did.
It
speaks for itself. It's powerful stuff.
There was a while where we considered blue because there's that other zombie that pumps up zombies that's blue-black. It gives all zombies +1/+1 and death touch.
Death touch, yeah.
Of course, there's lots of other zombie token creators in blue, but they're mainly in the amass families. Like there's a lot of amass blue spells, and of course, like since we're not doing a lot of actual zombie creature cards, that does cut out a lot of like, reanimate a zombie creature. It's like, well, we don't have a lot. So like that kind of, so really blue stops delivering after a while. I mean, it would be nice to put Jalira in to like to polymorph other zombies into other things, but I just found this brew works way better. I think this is the best.
I like a hyper-focused, this is focused on one aspect of zombies. It's focused on the tokens, and it's focused on attacking.
Yeah.
There's other zombies that are like more grindy, more like, still attacking, but in a way that's like more grinding your opponents down and pumping up just a few. But like, I love that there's that much flexibility even within a tribe like that within Commander. Like, I think that's really awesome. So yeah, this is amazing. I love seeing a Jund zombie deck that's just all about haste and attacking. It's so great.
Yeah, Nick's fast zombies were always my favorite kind of zombies anyway.
I know. I gotta say, I'm not one of those purists who loves the slow ones. I like I love the original Dawn of the Dead as well, of course, but also I did like the remake. I thought it was very well done.
Man, the Left 4 Dead video games, they're all fast zombies.
Oh my god,
so good.
Oh man, Left 4 Dead, one of my favorites. When are they gonna make another one of those or remake the original for like the current console generation? Man, those games are unreal. Those games are so fun.
The golden age of Valve.
Oh man, how great would it be during this to play that? You know what I mean? During this during the pandemic, we could play a game that's about a zombie pandemic. Fun.
Hey man, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going back in the old Steam library and dusting off a few old games.
True. There's people out there still playing. Oh, well, were there any surprises or discoveries for this deck though?
There certainly were. This in particular, Strength of Night. It's an instant from Apocalypse. Cost 8 cents. It's 2 and a green with kicker for a black. So you're going to pay 2 black green, and it says creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. If you paid the kicker cost, zombies you control get an additional +2/+2 until end of turn. So this is like the original green zombie card, right? It's a green card that like refers to zombies. Like I would be surprised if there was a card older from Magic's history that cared about zombies.
Yeah.
But so basically it gives all of your zombies +3/+3 at instant speed. So here's another way to just be like, oh, and by the way, the 4 that you let through, they're so much bigger, and now you're basically dead.
It's almost like a mini like instant speed overrun kind of. It's like
it is
trample obviously, but like wow.
And so this becomes a little less exciting when you remember that Eldraine gave us Return of the Wild Speaker, which is a 5-mana instant that makes non-humans get. Is it +2/+2 or +3/+3?
I think it is +3.
Oh well, and see with that card as well, it is +3/+3, So it's all your zombies also get that
Yeah.
for 1 additional mana, but you also have the option of drawing cards equal to the greatest power among non-humans you control. And Thantis is always a very big non-human, like with all those plus and plus
Nice,
encounters. So like this is only 1 mana shy of Return of the Wild Speaker. I think Return of the Wild Speaker outshines this.
Yeah.
But before they printed that, this card was like perfect.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I'd
Cool.
probably
Still
run
good to
both.
know.
I
I
think.
mean, having both is definitely a nice option.
Yeah.
Well, we
So yeah, and I just want to say I stressed about this. One of my personal things is I love everything to be fair, and I would never want to leave anyone out of the Discord. And we had a big discussion about it, and I was just like, so I'm just going to shout out the Discord as a whole rather than make the list of names because it was very long. I'm going to try this once. This is not my new way of doing things. But after talking with people on there, I was like, I'm just going to, you all know who you are. Like our Discord helped me a lot with this, with lots of ideas. If we like, there was some blue, like if you are in our Discord and maybe it's not your thing, maybe you don't like to throw cards, that's fine. That's great. There's a lot of different discussions going on in there. But if you generally don't, like, I would encourage you to look back through there and look at some of the other ideas for the different colors involved and the different iterations this deck went through. It was pretty neat.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, we talked about that, Discord and the surprises, so let's get to the budget report. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep.
Breaking news, all the people have turned into zombies. So the ones that get in your house stay, and the ones that can't get in your house, well, they're the winners.
They're not like vampires. It doesn't matter if you invite them in.
No, they don't care. They don't listen.
They don't care about that.
So I ran this deck through. You can check out the link in our show notes to see this deck is on TCGplayer. The low price is $63, and I couldn't find the market price. They wouldn't give me one, but the median price, it was just a dash. It didn't have data.
Weird.
I don't know why, but the median is $134, which is a little bit more than some of the decks
And usually the median's a little bit higher than the market, so you can probably guess
yeah.
that's probably run somewhere 120 somewhere, something like that.
Yeah, so this is a little higher than I anticipated with so many zombies, and well, I mean, it's obvious why, and there's a few cards here. We'll talk about the most expensive cards and whether or not you can cut them. The most expensive card in the deck is the one I think we should keep. It's 3 red. It's Savage Beating. Instant.
Love the name of this card.
It is a great name. And the guy's just wearing like huge arm talent, like metal glove
It's like
things.
a Volshock. Is that what he is, right?
Oh yeah, for sure he's a Volshock.
Yeah, he's a Volshock.
So you play Savage Beating only during your turn and only during combat. No problem. So it's 3 red with Entwine, 1 and a red. So we can get one of these 2 abilities for 3 red, or we can get both of them for 7 mana. So the first option is creatures you control gain double strike until end of turn at instant speed. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is untap all creatures you control, and after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So an extra combat step, but also double strike if we want to pay for it. So like that's just, it's so much. It's so good.
Oh, giving the menace a double strike. Like, that's the thing with zombies. It just all piles on so much. So nuts.
Yeah, it's like almost $8. That's the most expensive card. So do you want to take the next one?
Yeah, it's Urabrask, the Hidden. Three red, same price, actually, for a legendary creature. That's one of the Praetors. It has haste. Sorry, creatures you control have haste, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Just really, like, this is exactly what this deck wants as far as giving your creatures haste, making it so that those zombies are going to get in every time. And like with Thantis, this means your opponent's creatures are basically never going to be untapped when it comes back to your turn, right? So it's like, man, Urabrask is definitely, I think it's the best creature that gives haste, probably.
Yeah, but that's why it costs so much.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a $7 card, and for the Praetors, like, he's probably the cheapest one, right?
I don't know.
He
I don't
probably
even
is.
think of it. Like, one of them's banned, right? Isn't the green one banned?
No.
No?
Vorinclex? No.
No, I'm thinking of the one that
You're
steals
thinking-
lands.
Or, yeah, you're thinking of Prime Time.
Primordial.
Titan.
The
No,
green
you're thinking
Primordial.
of... Yeah, you're thinking of... Yes, yeah, there's a green Primordial, too. I was thinking of Primeval Titan. Also banned.
Also banned.
No, none of the Praetors are banned. But yeah, but Urbrask is great. But I mean, $7. Like, there's a lot of things that give haste. You know.
Well, and I think like, and so it's great that Urabrask is a creature, and I think you might get a bit as much mileage, if not more, because if our opponent's creatures are already mostly tapped from having to be in combat all the time, maybe Garna's a better choice. Super budget, same CMC, but then you get to bring creatures back from your graveyard that went to the graveyard this turn, which isn't going to be a ton of them because we don't have a ton, but just for the similar effect for like way less price, I think.
Yeah, be able to flash it in is pretty nice too, actually. For Garna there. So yeah, that's a nice replacement. How much is Garna? Like 50
I'm looking
cents,
it up.
maybe?
Garna is like 12 cents.
Less than a gumball. What a laugh.
Yeah.
Finally, what else?
Yeah, third most expensive card. It's in standard. I think that's why it's Shadow Spear. It's the new artifact. 1 to cast. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Has trample and lifelink, and 1 permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible till end of turn, and it equips for 2. This is a vastly improved Loxodon Warhammer. We love that card, so we're gonna love this as well. And just, I mean, we don't need it, but Thantis gets really big, so being able to give Thantis trample is awesome. I'm also happy to throw this on a random zombie and just get a bunch of stuff. We could cut it though. We certainly could, or run Loxodon Warhammer, and so we can probably knock off like $13 easy.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say, like, unless you're really taking advantage of like the targeting and the getting rid of the indestructible, which is still just even generally useful. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, you probably can save us some cash here. But Shadow Spear is awesome. I just actually picked one up myself recently because I was like, oh, that's going to be a card you're going to want.
I think it'll be a commander staple. It's $5.50.
Yeah. You know me, you gotta have stuff that makes people lose hexproof. You just have to.
Yeah.
Arcane Signets. I mean, Shadow Spear is the latest one, and it's very, very cheap as far as mana goes. So, I mean, get them while you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely save some dough there.
Yeah, definitely. I may have stepped on your favorite card earlier in discussion.
You did, 100%. But that's fine because I love talking about it either way. Yeah, we talked about it. It's Return of the Wild Speaker. This is easily one of my favorite, if not my favorite card from Throne of Eldraine. It's the 4 and a green. You either draw cards equal to the greatest power among non-human creatures you control, which in this deck is probably going to be Thantis, and it's going to be a lot. Or non-human creatures, as we discussed, you control get +3/+3 till end of turn. Both things are amazing. They're both so great. Being able to draw cards in these colors obviously is great. Green is going to be able, to give you that, especially with this card. It's going to be awesome. So I love this card. We already talked about it a bunch. It's just so versatile, man. Like whether you're going to close out the game or whether you need to draw into a win con or something to help you survive. This card does it.
Yeah, my favorite card, we talked about it anyway, but I couldn't resist. It's Breath of Fury. It's the enchantment.
Yeah. We really buried the lead on these.
We did you enchant a creature, and then if it deals combat damage, you sacrifice it, but then put it on a new creature, and then you get an extra combat step. This is a way to chain together many combat steps. And it's like, yeah, this card can be surprise wins out of nowhere. And I know you might be saying like, but what if only one player has a free board and the other player is like, you're not going to get out. They'll just block the one that you enchant. It's like, well, no, you wait until maybe they have menace. And then he's like, well, that guy only has one creature, so my menace one will get through to them. So you send one to that person and everything to other people. Then you kill that open person last, right? Yeah. And you just move it to a new zombie, repeat until they're the last opponent, and then you just finish them off with the remaining zombies.
Very fun, very all-in card. Yeah, the timing is obviously very key for this one.
Oh man, but when it works, when your opponents don't see it coming, it's
that's
the
best.
Beauty.
You get to pick, obviously, right? Like,
yes.
You don't just play this out when you get it. You wait on this one.
Yeah.
Man, I love it, Sean.
Yeah.
A Jund fast zombie just so good. The flavor's there, everything's there. This is a fun deck. I love a new take, an interesting, a different take on a classic archetype kind of. This is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, we won't rest until we have a zombie deck of every shard and wedge.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, I want to see our Simic zombie deck. Like,
Oh my god, that's tough.
yeah,
It's
that's
tough.
tough. That's tough. You gotta have black.
Every shard of wedge that includes black.
Yeah, every shard of wedge that includes black definitely has a zombie deck. No question about it.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff. Well, thanks everyone for listening again this week. Hope you like this deck and everything that we were doing. Again, check out TCGplayer in the United States. Use our affiliate link there. Click through. You don't even have to buy the cards from this deck. If you're just going to TCGplayer to buy stuff, pop over, use our link. It's gonna that helps support the show. It's great. And then also, if you're in Canada though, check out wizardtower.com. Use our coupon code to get a slice off of your order inside of Canada. Great. Thanks so much, everyone. And again, keep it cool, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you love what we're doing, consider supporting the show by going to patreon.com/commandersbrew.
And if you want to get any of the cards from our deck list, go to our TCGplayer affiliate link below.
That helps us out too. And for a free way to help us out, consider sharing the show with some friends. Like and subscribe, add a comment or two.
See you later.
Bye.